Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Park.
Hello and welcome to this episode of More Money. Today I am so excited to be talking to Michele Reynolds, back for her 4th year of growth interview. Of course, I am your host, Cassie Parks. I teach people how to welcome more money into their life. And if you've been following Michele, you know that's been happening. And there's still growth. Even when more money comes in, there's more growth that leads to more money and all that. So welcome, Michele. How are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you. Happy day to you.
Happy day to you.
Thank you.
Cool. So tell me, what is awesome?
Oh, there's so much. I don't know if I can even tell you everything. It's like there's so much coming right now that I'm trying to breathe.
Yes. Yeah. So tell us, what is some of the awesome stuff?
Oh my goodness gracious. So my team is growing in leaps and bounds. I'm being interviewed today because I am the leader in the party plan business, and I'm the girl that said I was never having a party.
Yes. Yep.
And a whole bunch of new friends that I've met. I'm traveling to Kansas City, meeting with some new people there that are interested in business, doing business with me. Going to Houston, we're opening a market, which is really fun.
Yes.
And my list of money coming in is very long. This is just this month, and this is not all of it.
I love it. How does that feel?
It feels good. I love to look at the green paper with all the incoming money on it. It makes me feel so powerful.
Yes.
It makes me feel wealthy, actually.
Yeah. Yes. All right. I love that. So let's, just so much good is coming up. I know there's other stuff that we'll get to in the interview because you've had some major breakthroughs and new people on your team. I don't know if you said it. What do you have, 3 or 4 new people?
3 so far this week.
Yeah. Which is awesome. So the last interview that we did, we talked about, it was more of a coaching session actually, right?
It was.
We did it as a coaching session because there were just things you knew that you weren't doing, and we coached on that. And so what's happened since then?
Well, the first thing that happened was I ran away because I didn't like it. And when I am challenged to grow, you have 2 choices. Everybody does, but I have 2 choices, and I could either dive in and just go with it, or I could just run and do whatever I've always done, like what's comfortable for me. And I felt like being comfortable. So I was.
Yes.
So I didn't do what I was supposed to. And there came a time for us to interview again, and I hadn't done anything. And I was like, okay, Michele, you cannot avoid this forever. If you want to grow, which you say you do, you have to start doing the work. So I made I'm going to show you this because people are going to be like, holy shamoly, they think their life is busy. So this is my master list of everything that I have to do in my life. So in it's pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. And so there are things like clean out the kitchen drawer. Take out the trash every Tuesday, just simple things. But for me, it is getting everything where it needs to be and getting my own personal stuff done. Because in a service-based business, I'm always serving other people, and I'm not always doing my own stuff. In fact, most of the time, my stuff is last. And what checking off that list is doing is helping me put myself first.
Mm-hmm. And so what's the background on that list? It wasn't like you woke up one day and were like, oh, I should put this all in a list and do it, right?
Yeah, well, that was one of the things you challenged me was, you need to take care of business. And I just had so many things to do that I was overwhelmed. And so then I did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
most
common,
do.
right? Yeah. And so for me, the reason I broke it down into the least common denominator was that it always gave me I feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
When it's, do your homework every day for 15 minutes
Mm-hmm.
before you do this, then that creates a new habit, which then creates new choices and new lifestyle and new money and new business. And so for me, and there's many things on there that I don't want to create a habit with. Like, I want to get that garage sale done, and I want to get that stuff gone, and I want to create more space. And then instead of filling up the space, I want the perfect things to come.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because here, the garage sale is a good example, right? So there can always be a thing on someone's list that's like that could become a habit to have that garage sale on your list forever. And when we don't put it on a list and break it down, like you said, like, you know, sort stuff, label stuff, pick a date. Like, when you don't make it check offable, it's just this big, huge thing on the list that's like, have a garage sale. And your mind is like, that's so many steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Right?
I've been meaning to have, literally, I moved into this house August 1st, 2017, and I've been meaning to have a garage sale for that entire time. Now, granted, it was too cold some of those months, but there's really no excuse that all that crap is still in my garage.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And yeah, so tell us more. So tell us what else has been done. You also updated to flat rate billing, which is on your list, right?
I did. That's probably the most major thing. Like, how did I forget that? So I had a date June 30th by the end of the last month to get my flat rate billing done. And actually, I think my goal was July 1st to have the conversation was the goal. And it came to be like a week before that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. So I found an easy way to do it. I took their last year annual income and I divided it by 12. And I said, I'm changing my business model. I'm going to move you to flat rate billing. You're going to get a bill on the 30th. You're also going to get a bill on the 1st. So they're going to double pay, like back to back. And what's going to happen is when you need additional services, it's not going to cost you more. And when you need less, you're still going to pay the same. That way, you know, for your budget, and I know for my budget, this is you securing me for the month. So I had to have only one conversation with someone because she was like, why am I paying you twice? And I said, you're securing me for the month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was all she needed to hear. And I didn't it came from a place of empowerment versus a place of, are we going to be okay? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love it because now I know I have that guaranteed income every single month. And I can, if someone says, what do you make? I know my number.
Yep.
And if I want to make more, then I can, when I quote a new client, I can say, this is how much time, this is your rate. And I can decide if that fits into my life or not.
Absolutely. And how much time did this give you back in your life that you don't have to do billing?
Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm a virtual assistant. So I was logging every single task I did every single minute. And then at the end of I was supposed to do it twice a month. I was supposed to bill twice a month. And sometimes it would be 3 months in between billing cycles because it took so much time. So I'm thinking 10 hours a month.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah. And I love it.
Yes, right. It's so freeing. But what what happened? Like, we talked about this in January, right? This is how long this has been going on. Like, it's been on your list to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to connect these dots for people listening and for you if you haven't. But it in your head, it was because everything else was so overwhelming, because there's this big, huge list that includes like this massive garage sale with all these, like, because the list is that long. I mean, that you have on paper, it is that long, right? Mm-hmm. That long was in your head, overwhelming you. Like, all you could see was the overwhelming choice of flat rate billing, which in your mind before, like, even if you didn't consciously realize this, went something like, I have to add up all these hours. I have to find the perfect amount of time. I have to figure out exactly what I'm doing for them. I have to do this. It was like this whole list of how do I get to a flat rate billing number? Mm-hmm. And once you got everything on paper and there started to be space and everything started to be easier, even though there's this list, but it's still easier, you were able to see the answer. Like, oh, you take the number and you divide it by 12 and that's what I'm going to go with. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And part of the overwhelm was I like felt I had to justify my number. Mm-hmm. Like, am I really worth it? And I did have one client that I said, this is going to be your rate, so much a month. And they wrote back and said, we're actually going to discontinue services. We're not seeing the ROI out of this. It's nothing you did. We love working with you. It's just, this is a pivotal time for us to say that, okay, we're done. And so I lost a client. but I gained 2 other flat rate billing clients in their place.
Amazing. How did that feel?
Good. Yeah. And one of them, she wants me to track my hours for a short time. And so I said, why? And she said, well, I want to make sure you're getting paid enough and that it's worth my time. And I said, okay, I'll do it for a short time. And she's actually going to owe me more than we agreed on for flat rate billing. So it really worked in my favor.
Yes. And it worked because you trusted, right? You were like, this is what I can do. Like, this is it. And you trusted the process. And then you ended up with more.
Yep,
I love
absolutely.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
I just thought of something else I got. So
Yes.
I bought a deep freeze. Yay.
Yes.
And so I'm going to my ex-husband's house and getting all the meat that my sister gave me for free out of that freezer. So we'll have all of that in our life. And the other thing I got was I'm traveling this weekend and 2 people needed a place to stay. And I said, that's fine. You can stay with me in that extra bed, but you have to pay for the whole entire night. So I got 1 night free on my trip.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
That's
so
fabulous.
I need to put those down on my list.
Exactly. Isn't it fun to realize like, oh, I need to pay more and more. I need to put more and more on my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. So, do you want to talk about your class reunion?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. So 30-year class reunion. And I didn't know if I wanted to go, but I definitely wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I connected with people, and my 10-year reunion was terrible. For those of you who know, I went back and it wasn't the reunion was terrible. It's where I was at was terrible. So my ex-husband had just left and I was a single mom with 2 young kids. And I was in total survival mode. There's no question. And I was overweight and I just wasn't feeling worthy. And so when I went back at the 10-year, and this happens often at 10 years, is that people are still comparing crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the 30-year, nobody cared about how anyone looked. Nobody cared about anyone's size. Nobody cared about anyone's wealth or what they did. We just loved each other's souls. And it was remarkable. And when I was there, I parked my car and I didn't drive my vehicle once the whole entire weekend. I was back home. And I bought many drinks. It was fabulous. But this is the greatest part of it all is I realized something about myself at that reunion is I had some emotional baggage that I had carried for 30 years. And I had made peace with the people. I had made peace with the situation, but I'd never made peace with the place. And so when I went back this time as a different woman, I was able to say, I'm okay. I'm very proud of who you are and who you've become. And this is okay too. So I walked out of that 30-year class reunion, a healed woman. And there's nothing holding me back at this point. So I have no emotional baggage to carry forward. And my worthiness is secure. My stuff is getting in order. And I'm super excited for what's next.
That's awesome. And you came home after that experience, and immediately had 3 new people on your team, right?
Yep. And there's 2 more that will be joining this week, 2 or 3 now.
I love it. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. I've never had 6 people join my team as business builders in a week ever in 12 years, ever.
Yeah. What do you think is the energetic shift that opened that up? Because everybody thinks it's work harder, do more, get more done. You didn't send out 100 emails.
No.
You didn't call up everybody you knew.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I did what was easy and I let those easy things come to me. Mm-hmm. So there was one, someone said, hey, I did this and it worked. So I copied what they did and with their permission, and literally immediately have multiple people looking at the business. So those are in addition to the 6, right?
Yes. Isn't that awesome?
Yep. And then there's been a couple things I've been watching you do and a couple other people. And it's the same thing where it's the systems are easy. And so I thought, well, why don't I do that with my own systems? And so I have 2 Facebook groups where they're closed groups and people have to apply to be in them.
Yes.
And I get to say if they're in there or not. And then I control the content, and people can comment and reply and be there that way. And what it did is people are now raving fans of the two like work groups I have. One is a mom, it's called Mom Squad, and it's helping moms get healthy, rich, and free. And the other is Do Easy Keto, which is teaching people how to live a ketogenic lifestyle in an easy fashion.
I love it. And I love it because they're inspired. And 2 months ago, I would even maybe say, but definitely, I think it was 2 months ago, we had a conversation about, the conversation was very different about how you were building your business, right? It's like, I have to go do this thing. I have to train this way. I need to do this. There might be some little magical thing that I need to learn, right?
Yep. In fact, and we didn't talk about this publicly, so I will just share it publicly. But I was at a point where I was in a little bit of a spend frenzy because I was running. So I was in survival mode again, right?
Yeah. I want to stop and say this again. Michele was in a spend, because if this is you, you got to hear this. You were in a spin frenzy because you were running, because you were in survival mode, because we as human beings, when we need to survive, we fight, flight, or freeze. And because there's no woolly mammoth to run from anymore, we do things like spend money as our way of running.
Yep.
Yeah.
So someone sent me this website, and it's really like cheap stuff that's cool stuff. And so I ordered like $200 of crap off of there that I needed nothing. And I justified in my mind, like, it's only $200. Like, it's fine. And then I subscribed for this course, and I will pursue the course when it's time. And I do feel like that's coming, but not quite yet. So I paid $500 for a course that I thought might be the thing that I needed. And when I told Cassie about it, Cassie was like, "You did what?" And and we, I love Cassie as a coach because she will say what I need to hear. And she said, "Why don't you put that off for a while?" And I'm like, "I just paid $500 for it. I'm not going to put it off." So I thought, Michele, just be a big girl. And I called the gal and I said, "I need some time to not pursue this right now." I said, "But I want to be on your back burner. I don't want you to forget me, or I want my money back, one of the two." And I said, "It's really up to you. If you want to refund my money and move to someone else, great. But if you want me to still, eventually do this with you, then just know I need a little bit of time because I can't fully implement being where I'm at right now." And I didn't need to say any more than that. And the thing is, she disappeared for 2 months.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that was a lesson in spending money that you maybe didn't need to spend.
Right.
But I have reached out to her again and just said, "I'm still not ready. But when I am, I just want you to, I want to make sure and get the value out of the money I spent." And she said, "I have not forgotten you. And I don't think it's just quite time yet." And so I was like, okay, well, we're both letting go of when, and we're just going to let it happen in perfect timing. So instead of that, I'm focused on what's easy for me right now and what's working. And I will know when the time is for that. I absolutely know I'll know, but it's already paid for. And then it's going to feel easy because there's not coming up with the money. There's not fitting it into my schedule. When I clear that stuff out of my garage for that garage sale, right? And I do, some bookkeeping stuff I need to do, meet with an accountant, handle my 401k. When I do some of my financial stuff, it's going to allow room for that perfect timing to show up.
I love that. And I want to point this out. You get it, and you can add in anything to this you want, but I want to make this clear to our listeners, because this is a big thing, right? It's when we're in survival mode, which is like, it's Michele's story, which is shifting and changing, and she's growing. And yet it's every time she grows, there's usually some sort of this, because it's the thing, right? It's just, and it's okay, right? It's the same thing I do. Like, I am a money chaser. So I just learned to recognize, like, are you going out and just sort of chasing something, or is that really what you need for your business? The same as, like, are you looking for, like in Michele's case, like the thing that's going to magically grow your business, right? And that isn't, example of like being in that spin, and it's a way to run and it's a way to not do the work, because the real work was to create space so that you could have so that you could have 6 clients, or not clients, but 6 people join your team in a week.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And, for me, I always get emotional when I'm growing.
Yeah.
I always cry. I always have a meltdown. I always run. That's just my thing. And so we have recognized, which has helped me as a person know that when I get that way, that means I'm close to something, versus in the past, when I tailspinned is what I'm going to call it, I tailspinned harder.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's helped me just breathe and go, okay, you're close to something, ask for help, because I can't see what I need. I have to ask Cassie. she's my looker inner.
I love that. It's true. Like when you're in that spin, when you're doing those things that have become like what you do to survive, it's hard to see them, because like you said, with the spending the $200, I could justify that, right? And everybody could justify, like if we, went into how great this $500, like everybody could have justified spending that $500. And if you're a person who's like constantly buying courses in this next thing, like this is something you might want to pay attention to, because we can all justify like, oh yeah, this is going to take my business. This has helped so-and-so. This is this. Like there's all kinds of ways we can logically do it, and we don't see it. And I think one of the things that we talked about is, even if this was the right decision, the reason you had to ask for time is because there wasn't time to implement it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, today I'm being interviewed by our corporate office about how to be, because I am the number one party plan person so far. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, you did so amazing. And they're throwing huge numbers out there of what I did and how much products I got for free. And the thing is, it's nothing people don't know. There's no secret. It's just, I did the work and I got excited. I had fun. When I'm having fun, business flows to me. And so that's a huge indication for me, is when I'm not having fun and it feels, what's the word, Cassie? Like
hard or
laborious, when it's hard, then I need to stop and go have fun.
Yes. Right. And so and when it was hard, is that when you, like, did you make the purchase? I'm just doing like.
Yeah, I think so. I think I bought the course, the $500 course, when I was in the spin. I was, things were hard. I was seeking something, and I thought this might be the thing. And I like the girl that sold it. I want her in my life. And you pointed out something, like she can still be in my life, whether I spend $500 on her course or not. And, she was offering it to only a few people. And, and I felt honored that she had selected me. And so there was that was filling my cup. And the fact is, we haven't filled my cup. I'm fine without her.
Right. You fill your own cup, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's remembering that. And especially I think in survival, when your story was survival and you're moving away from that, that's one thing to remember, right? Because it's really easy to like go get someone else to give that like quick hit fill up of your cup. It's true of all stories, actually.
Yeah.
Probably not just.
I have one other thing, if we can tailspin to a new subject.
Absolutely. Let's talk about it.
So, as many of you know, I got divorced earlier this year, and hereby single and loving it and taking care of myself. And as of just a few weeks, I literally have supported myself for a year.
Yay! That's amazing. That's so exciting.
Yeah, huge celebration. And I still have money in the bank. So it's not like I, used everything to do that,
Right. And how does that feel?
It feels really good. It's just this knowingness that I can do it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm writing that down.
because my future self, she doesn't work for someone else. So I'm not going to go get a job, even after the second year or the third year. Like, I'm going to provide for myself financially. It's going to be fabulous.
And you're building all that evidence of that, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, and then the tailspin of that is my ex-husband has a new girlfriend, and I've had to, in my survival mode episode there,
I love it. It's just an episode.
it's
right?
an episode.
It's just an
Yeah.
episode. It has a beginning. I love this term. We're going to use this because it has a beginning. It has an end. Like, it's just like, you know.
It's just one scene of the movie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, when that first happened, I was like, I was the decider to leave, but I was like, I felt so replaced, and I didn't know how I felt about that. And I keep asking, like, what's she look like? What's she do? Is she nice? Does she treat you good? Like, what are they kissing? And like, who cares if they're kissing? Whatever. And the feedback I got was, yeah, they're kissing all the time, and she's really nice. She's beautiful. She's skinny, and she feels really bad that she's stepped into your place. And I was like, okay, she sounds like a pretty upright, amazing woman. And I want him to be happy. I want her to be a great woman for my daughter, right? Like, I don't want some ugly, mean troll being the stepmom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I want her to be fabulous, and I want to like her because we're going to work together for many years if they so decide to hitch up or something. But the thing is, I, had to go, what's it doing to my worth? And the thing is, it doesn't affect my worth, but mentally it was so easy to go like, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
And and it was, and you said something the other day to me that really helped. And I'm going to try and think of the exact words you said was, as far as the replaceable part, you said the old you is replaceable. The current and future you is not replaceable. And I was like, that's so true, because when I married my ex-husband, 15 years ago, I was a completely different person than I am now. And because I grew and I took care of business and I put priorities first, I grew out of that marriage. And so now he needs someone else to fill that hole, which is fine. As long as she's an amazing woman. And, I want him to be blissfully happy. I want her to be amazing. And what that does is it really frees me up for my amazing guy.
Yeah.
And so I have let go of the jealousy thing, because my future self is not a jealous woman. She wants, because I have my guy. He loves me. We're devoted. We're loyal. We're faithful. It's hot and sexy. And, I don't need his permission to be happy.
Right. Yeah. And I think that we didn't talk about this on Monday, but I want to add it in. Like, yes, she is amazing. Like, you were still amazing when you married him, right? You still had the same heart. You were still a good mom. You were amazing. Like, you were doing life the best you could. And so she's likely, that's very true, that she's amazing, because she did just step into, like, here's an amazing woman who just hasn't grown yet or doesn't want to grow yet, right? So she might just be happy with exactly where she was, but you were amazing but wanted to grow, and that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want her to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I plan on being friends with this. I've never whether mine or someone else's, I've never met an ex-wife I didn't like. So why would this one have to be any different?
Right. That's amazing. I love it. So as we wrap up, since we sort of tailed into your divorce and this 1 year of supporting yourself celebration, yay. So awesome. Will you talk a little bit about how, creating your how stepping into your future self made this last year of going through divorce possible, and talk a little bit about, would you, now that you're like a year out from leaving and then getting divorced, like, would you say that the process was easy of getting divorced?
Well, the process itself, yes, very easy. It's just paperwork.
Yes.
The letting go of what felt familiar to step into something new.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was hard,
Right.
but it was unfamiliar.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to lean a lot on the work we have done. And that is knowing where I'm going in the future and looking back and saying, this is just an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, no, I don't think it's hard. Did I cry a lot during the year? Absolutely. Did I have many meltdowns? Absolutely. Did I spend way too much money on crap I didn't need? Absolutely. Did I, did I run to the vices that hold me at times? Absolutely. So we all cope in our own certain ways when we're growing. And we love to go to what's familiar, but I will just challenge you guys to, that's why I have to work with a coach. That's why Cassie is my coach, because I couldn't do it by myself. There's no way. If I look back at last year to this year without you, I don't know that I would be renewing my lease in this amazing house. I don't know that I might be looking for a job. I might feel completely worthless, and I could be 50 pounds heavier versus 56 pounds and 63 inches lighter. I just there's so many things that it could have gone a million different directions, but it went this way because we scripted years ago, 2015, September 2015, 3 years ago. We scripted what the life in the future was. And so many of those things have already come to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And thank you for sharing that story, because you just opened up that possibility for somebody else who's on that verge of divorce, or they're thinking about it, or, all of that.
Mm-hmm. And it always feels like it's the end of like life as you know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Divorce, right? Well,
yeah.
It is. And it's just an episode. And because you're opening the door to a better episode, like the sequel is almost always better in a movie. Almost always.
Right.
And if not, you're the script writer, rewrite it.
Right. Do it better.
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
it better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. We have about 1 minute. Any quick final thoughts that you want to share?
I just will really encourage people to be part of the Enchanted Circle. It's an investment, and it takes time, and it's not going to be comfortable always, but you meet some amazing people. And I literally would, there's a million coaches in my life, but Cassie's the only one that I would choose to work with. So
thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure to tune in to Michelle's next episode, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn the step-by-step process to welcome more money into your life, go to manifest10k.com.